Good morning, class. The reason why you're hearing my voice right now is probably because I am with my wife, who is giving birth to my daughter, Chloe. So I won't be in class right now, probably for at least 5 days. So I've created some of these instructional videos for you guys to help you with your DBQ. Your database questions to help you write your papers, your eventual essays that you should be able to pull from here. And let's get started. So this mini Q, the question is the ideas of the Declaration. Which is most important? I will read to you guys if you want that. If you want that assistance. Other than that, you can just skip on and do it yourself. Or you just skip to where you need to hear my assistance to help you get started. Other than that, once you really have a full grasp of what we're doing, you can just go ahead and move along with the lesson and complete the task yourself. Okay, so here's the overview. In a recent survey conducted by the National Archives, the Declaration of Independence topped all others to gauge as the most influential document in American history. Many Americans think of the Declaration as a symbol of the independence from Great Britain that we celebrate on July 4th. While it is certainly that, the Declaration is also a statement of our nation's main beliefs about government and its relationship to the people. These beliefs have been the centerpiece of American history for more than 230 years. All the ideas are important, but which is most important? That is the question asked by this mini-Q. And of course, that's the important thing, is which is most important. Alright, so we have 4 documents we're going to take a look at. Document A is going to deal with equality. Document B is going to deal with right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Document C is going to be concerning the consent of the governed. And document D, it concerns the ability to alter or abolish the government. So that's the documents you'll look at. This is a mini Q with only 4 documents. Your future ones will have more than one. Alright, so here's our hook exercise. A Moon's Colonies Challenge. Directions. The year is 2076. You are one of the founders of a U.S. colony on the moon. The experience of starting this colony has been very rewarding. The members of the colony were chosen because they had the qualities of good citizens. They have respected the rights of others. All in all, they have created a good community. The colony is, however, having some problems with the mother country. And feel free to document your DBQ. If you come across vocab words, you can highlight them or underline them with your pencil, and you could go ahead and try and look up the definition of what that word is to help you better understand the text. Alright, I'll resume. You are paying taxes to the U.S. government, but you are not allowed to vote in U.S. elections. The taxes seem unreasonably high given that your economy has gone off the ground. It is especially disturbing that you must pay high tariff taxes on certain products that are imported from the United States, products that you are unable to produce on the moon. You are also disturbed by U.S. military forces that patrol your community. Because housing is still in short supply, these soldiers take up rooms in your community dormitories, intruding into the private lives of your citizens. Your community does not need this kind of occupying force to maintain order. Despite the problems, most members of the colony are loyal to the United States. Tonight, there is a town hall meeting. Some colonists want to separate from the United States. Some want to try to get the U.S. government to listen to the colony's issues. As one of the founders of the colony, you will be expected to speak, and people will pay close attention to what you have to say. Here are some questions you think could be taken. Which will you support? So, would you hold protests on the moon? And you will just highlight yes or no. Would you refuse to pay the tariffs on imported goods? Circle yes or no. Would you write space mails and text the government leaders explaining your issues? Would you send delegates to Washington to meet with government officials and find solutions? Or potentially declare independence. Now, make sure you rank order the actions in terms of their likely effectiveness, with 1 being very effective in producing the changes you want, and 5 the least effective. So you could put those numbers off to the side, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or however you feel would be most effective, with 1 being the most effective and 5 being the least effective. Okay, so now we got to the background essay. And you should still be able to do this day 1 of the lesson. Alright, background essay. The ideas of the Declaration. Which is most important? History and structure of the Declaration. By early summer 1776, the Revolutionary War was already a year old. The Continental Congress meeting in Philadelphia had appointed a committee of 5 to write a statement explaining the colonists' arguments for independence from Great Britain. The Committee of 5 asked one of its members, 33-year-old Thomas Jefferson, to take on the job of writing the first draft. After Jefferson prepared the draft, John Adams and Benjamin Franklin suggested some changes. The committee approved the revised draft, and it was delivered to the Congress. Between July 2nd and 4th, the Congress made other changes, shortening the document by 25%. Jefferson was unhappy with these changes, but the structure and powerful words of the document are still his. In the end, the Declaration would not only shape the government and the culture of the United States, it would shape the thinking of the world. The Declaration has a simple structure. An introduction saying that we owe the world an explanation for our separation. A statement of ideas about government. A long list of grievances against the British. A declaration of independence from Great Britain. It is the second paragraph of the Declaration, the statement of ideals. That will be our focus in this mini-Q. In this paragraph, Jefferson said, "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness." And you might even consider highlighting that these immortal words that are very ideal to American thought. That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it. Many historians would argue that this is the most important passage in the most important document in American history. Historians also agree that the extent of meaning, or the exact meaning of key words and phrases, is open to interpretation. For example, in the first line, Jefferson writes, "All men are created equal." What did he mean by men? What did he mean by equal? And later in the same sentence, what did Jefferson mean by life? Was he against taking a life? Was he therefore against warfare? And what did he mean by liberty? Was he against slavery, even though he owned slaves? Indeed, this passage in the Declaration is both powerful and open to interpretation. Regardless of one's interpretation, these ideas provide the basis for our Constitution and government. They represent American ideals. That is, they reflect the full vision of what America should be. They are worthy of close inspection. Your task: consider the 4 key ideas expressed in the Declaration of Independence: equality, unalienable rights, consent of the governed, and the right to alter or abolish government. Then write an essay which explains why 3 of these ideas are important to society, and why the 4th idea is most important of all. Okay, so let's take a look at these background essay questions. So first one, who was the primary author of the Declaration of Independence? And so you would go ahead and you would write. I will model for you this first response to that question. I'm going to get my comment tool, click T. You guys have paper, so you would write And make sure you use your sentence stems, and the question provides you a sentence stem. So again, question 1 says, who was the primary author of the Declaration of Independence? And the way you should write in full sentences is that the author of the Declaration, and it's a title of a document, Declaration of Independence, was Thomas Jefferson. And then I'm just going to highlight that. And there's my highlight tool. Oops. Control Z. No. And my highlighting tool is not working the way I want it to. I should be able to select that and click highlight. And that's not doing it. Well, that's alright. But you get the idea. Okay. So now likewise you will go and you complete each question and use the sentence stem. So again, question 2, what are the 4 parts of the Declaration of Independence? And then you'll state the 4 parts of the Declaration of Independence are, and then you'll write that out in your sentence. Don't forget to define your terms: independence, grievances, ideas, self-evident, unalienable rights. Those are important. And we got this handy-dandy timeline to give you also a frame of reference of the era. Again, you have the French Indian Wars in 1754 through 1763, which cost the British a lot of debt, and they wanted to try and make up that debt by taxing the colonies with a Tea Act, Sugar Act, and then of course the colonists responded very angrily, and they had the Boston Tea Party, where a number of people from Massachusetts dressed up, or the Sons of Liberty dressed up as Indians, went onto British ships and dumped their tea in the harbor. You had the battles of Lexington and Concord, where now the colonists are openly fighting the British, and they will use guerrilla warfare and will secure some good victories in the beginning. Thomas Jefferson will, in 1776, June 11th through July 1st, will draft and write the Declaration of Independence. July 2nd, 1776, the Continental Congress considers the Declaration of Independence. July 4th, 1776, the Continental Congress adopts the Declaration of Independence. And of course, in 1783, you have the end of the Revolutionary War, and in 1787, the Constitution is written and signed in Philadelphia. Okay, now once you get to this part of the lesson, understanding the question and pre-bucketing, we want to understand the question. So what is the analytical question asked by this mini-Q? And what you have to do is you just have to go back to the top, and you'll catch the question right at the beginning. The ideas of the Declaration, which is most important? So we'll come back down, and I'll model for you the first response here. So use your sentence stem. Question 1 includes your sentence stem, and so you would just respond with the analytical question asked by the mini-Q is, what is the most important idea in the Declaration of Independence? And likewise. Alright, and here we have this pre-bucketing exercise. So go ahead and complete the rest of those. Here we have this pre-bucketing exercise. And you see there's 4 buckets. If you guys recall, there's going to be 4 documents you're going to analyze. And so I would probably just put what the main idea of each of those documents inside these buckets. And that will help you organize or realize what those documents are going to be about when you read them. So that's what you write. So for example, document 1, or document A, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. You can see that it's going to deal with equality. And if you want a shortcut, you can go to the table of contents, and this gives you an idea of what's going to go in those buckets. Here's your documents. Oh, look at what you got. Equality. So come down here, and then you would write into your bucket equality. Okay, well that is day 1, and I will stop right there. You guys have a great day, and I look forward to seeing you.